Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Surbhi Dahiya 77, the Media Mentor. If you are listening to my video for the first time, I'm Professor Surbhi Dahiya and I head the journalism department at the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, New Delhi. Friends, you can subscribe to my channel for regular videos on news reporting, on beat reporting, specialized reporting, journalism, topics on communication, mass communication, media business management. And friends, today we will be discussing about media entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial journalism in India. Entrepreneurship, as all of you know, is a buzzword. Friends, if you thumb through the pages of economic theories, economists have never had a consistent definition of entrepreneur or entrepreneurship. French word entreprendre has means to undertake, and entrepreneurial or an entrepreneur existed for many centuries, but it did not find a place in the formal models of classical and neoclassical economists, as they assumed that perfect information would be known only to the fully rational actors, leaving no room for risk taking or discovery. So when we talk about incorporating entrepreneurship into the models, it was only in the middle of 20th century that economists seriously attempted to incorporate entrepreneurship into their models. Who were the top three thinkers when it comes to entrepreneurship? The top three thinkers who were central to the inclusion of entrepreneurs were Joseph Scumsher, Frank Knight, and Israel Kinzer. How did they define entrepreneurship? Let's see that. What was the focus? So if you talk about Scumsher, he suggested that entrepreneurs not just comprise, they were responsible for the creation of new things in the search of profit. Now, in particular, one of the fundamental theories of entrepreneurship is that it causes innovation. Scumsher said way back in 1936. But if you talk about Knight focused on entrepreneurs as the bearers of uncertainty and believed they were responsible for risk premiums in financial markets. Kirchner thought of entrepreneurship as a process that led to the discovery. So these were the three different focus by the three different theorists. I was reading Daniel Isenberg, a former professor at Harvard Business School and now an entrepreneur, who believes that entrepreneurship is contrarian. I was reading in his interview with The Ink, he argued that anything entrepreneurial, truly entrepreneurial, shouldn't be perceived as valuable, feasible, or smart. That's because entrepreneurism, rather than referring to anybody who starts a business, is all about seeing value where nobody else does. Is that the real confusion? He further says that we have all gotten confused as a society about what is important about this term. So he says that one confusion is, he says that it has to do with the startups, that every startup is entrepreneurial and every entrepreneur has a startup. He says this is a confusion. And the second confusion he talks about is that every entrepreneur is innovative and most innovations are entrepreneurial. So what entrepreneurship really means? Doing something that is out of the ordinary in terms of value creation. So entrepreneurs are creating extraordinary value. They are beating the market by taking something that looks less valuable to everybody else. So the big question here is, what is media entrepreneurship, or what is entrepreneurial journalism? Does that simply refer to the act of individuals establishing new profitable enterprises in the profession, or of dissemination of news and opinions of events? So when you see the theoretical underpinnings or the theoretical conceptualization of entrepreneurial journalism, the creation and ownership of a small enterprise, or organization whose activities add up at least one voice or innovation to the media marketplace, the individual media entrepreneur or small partner entrepreneur groups are the central characters here in that organization's information, whether the innovators or they are the founders or they are the owners. While operationally defining entrepreneurial journalism in India, I've conceptualized and implied scrumptious entrepreneurship, innovation, connection, and I will talk on maybe one or two journalistic endeavors in India, and probably try and write another book on entrepreneurial journalism where I cover around 20-30 organizations, which will be a sequel to my book Indian Media Giants, where I have studied the big Indian media houses, which is going to be shortly released by Oxford. So why entrepreneurial journalism in modern times? When the very fabric of the society is changing, with the advent of the social media and the online world, mass media is also seeing tremendous evolution. The way that people are consuming news and interacting with each other has seen a radical shift. So naturally, this presents enormous changes in the way traditional business operates. In the realm of media, in the realm of news. And what is the center stage? Within these challenges are also hidden numerous opportunities for innovation, for disruption, for disruptive technologies. So it is in solving these challenges that entrepreneurial journalism is brought to the center stage. Essentially, identifying these challenges and formulating and executing solutions to these problems through successful enterprises is what an entrepreneur in journalism or media would aim to achieve. I was going through people who are studying entrepreneurial journalism, and I happened to read about what Jeremiah Kaplan is doing from the City University of New York Graduate School. He describes journalism, entrepreneurial journalism, as a living lab for what's next in media. He says that the living lab approach should aim at taking a developmental view of innovation and at studying novel technologies in complex real-world settings that have realized the shift, towards the active role of users as co-innovators. It's really unfortunate that in India we do not have these living labs, though IITs have set up some incubation centers. So media institutes should also do the same. Media institutes in India are not really focusing on entrepreneurial opportunities or entrepreneurship opportunities. How many media institutes, I ask my colleagues, have an incubation center that facilitates budding entrepreneurs? Let me focus on journalistic endeavors, new entrants, and the small media business owners as well. So the supposition in entrepreneurship for profit realm, it is presumed that achieving personal wealth is the driver for entrepreneurial development. But in case of media, we do have non-profit organizations as well, non-commercial communities. So there's a for-profit, there's a non-profit, and there's an aggregation-based, organizations. So if you talk about the startups and versus the traditional media, the new media startups or the journalism or the entrepreneurial journalistic startups have also forced the traditional media to look at different ways of reinventing itself. So the end result is that the consumer now has a wide range of news available to them in different formats. We've all become platform agnostic. And the consumer can pick and choose what they like and want to see or how they want to consume news. So in early 2010s, a decade ago, when the US had a swarm of new media platforms with innovative news and business models, India was still following the prevalent traditional media objectives. So it was the time of revolutions when the technology was sinking in and the people were becoming tech savvy with the smartphones, with the internet. So in India, if you see, the field of journalism is a sort of a contested ground with legacy, with digital, English, Hindi, vernacular media, all vying for readers and influence. But there are so many digital ventures that have come up now in the previous decade. Firstly, it requires a lot of money that the legacy media, does, have. So it's cost efficient. Secondly, it is more, independent. It is not dominated by any third party if you talk about the digital ventures. And if you see the Indian scenario, there's a new news economy, right? There's a growth in internet, there's a growth in smartphones. So the traditional media also have come up with their digital arms. Times Group has Times Internet Limited. So the unified ecosystem of print and digital news websites, there's a unified ecosystem between the print and the digital news sites now. You also have here the Indian editions of international digital outlets, could be BBC or other organizations, Wise India. There are global players in India. But the rise of digital startups in India, if you talk about notable independent digital startups in India and their changing business models, there are many trailblazers. We have the print, we have Scoop Whoop, we have India Spend, we have Boom Live, we have Alt News, we have Youth Ki Awaaz, we have Democracy News Live, we have Beyond Headlines, Pari is there, Scroll is there, Better India, The Quint, The Wire, Citizen, Exchange for Media, Dow Connection, InShots, The Logical Indian, NewsClick, The News Minute, News Laundry. There are so many digital media startups, or you can call them an entrepreneurial journalistic startups. And there are many which are mushrooming also, right? Like Asia Will or Black Monk, Feminism in India, Homegrown, Live Law is growing, Media Crooks, Media Dhobi Ghat, New India Junction, The New Indian, Cobra Post, How India Lives, there's so many, Peeply, Oxpo, Sabrang India. She the People, Sportskira, Unreal Times. I might forget some names, but yeah, Hoot, Catch News. Hoot is, I think, shut now. VC Circles. So there's Gulail. So many. So if you want to, study the entrepreneurship of a media organization, of a media startup, then what all you should think about, what all you should study, what all you should, know about organizations, so that you also think on those lines and try to be a media entrepreneur in the times to come. So just study what is their genesis, how did it come about, who were the founders, whether they were from the media background or the non-media background. Why did they start this? Why did they name the organization such? So there's a full story that I'm trying to cover in my book. Why the print was named as the print, and why the scoop whoop was named as the scoop whoop. So there are anecdotes behind that. So, you should also know what is the vision and the mission of the organization, or what are the goals of that organization. So basically, it's called as a strategic intent enunciation. What is the organizational structure? Are they working with 10 people? Alt News, I think, is working with 11 to 12 people. Or have they grown from a team of 6 to 160, like the Scoop Whoop? How did they grow? How did they develop? What is the product that they are offering? What are the different genres that they are working in? How do they develop their product? What is their content focused on? How do they manage their content? What are their editorial policies? What is, their present social media presence? What are the challenges they faced? What are the technological advances? How far they have expanded? What is their, market expansion? Do they have any mergers, acquisitions, or any collaborations, or any, joint ventures or strategic alliances? What is their revenue model? What is their funding model? What CSR activities are they involved in? What are their HR policies? What is their competitive edge? What are their business dynamics? What is their business model? And what do you think is the future of entrepreneurial journalism in India? Let me discuss about one of the organizations, which is called as Scoop Whoop. And why I take pride in explaining this organization is because it is my institute's pride as well, IIMC's pride, because it was, started by a few students of IIMC. So Scoop Whoop, a digital media startup which is headquartered in New Delhi with offices in Mumbai and Bangalore. So in 2019, Oxford University, Reuters Institute placed Scoop Whoop among the 10 most trusted online news websites in India. Huge achievement. Scoop Whoop was started, as an experiment by few classmates of the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Satvik Mishra, Rishi Pratim Mukherjee, Sri Parna. And they decided that the social media network would, be perfect to do an experiment on. So the very first article, I was talking to Satvik the other day, and he told me that the very first article that attracted the audience was titled as "If Game of Thrones was made in India," which Indian actors would play what roles. So Satvik said that it was a fun article, and just in one night it had 500,000 views on the Facebook page. Until then, the pages had 0 following and no one knew Scoop Whoop. But this article led to the creation of the website and its expansion on a larger scale. So one article, one night can change the scope of your entrepreneurial endeavor. They launched their website in August 2013 in a beta mode and got it registered in later end of the year 2013 for a for-profit private company limited. And Satvik said that when they started, there were hardly any digital media platforms. But yeah, I think there were 3-4. Exchange for Media was there, and I think India Spend and Boom, India Spend was there. So they were the first, news company to be funded by a traditional, VC or a venture capitalist. So at that time, the venture capitalists were looking at the news business as content companies. So the content business was highlighted by an increasing mobile data penetration and the decreasing cost of data, which was on a downward curve. So interesting anecdote about the selection of the name following the Indian parlance, where people usually say rhyming words like roti shoti or yaha waha. So Scoop Whoop was envisioned as a media and content company made for and by the young India. And now the team comprises of more than 158 people, and the main product, their website, scoopwhoop.com. The product has diversified into various categories like the news, Bumble, social gloat, entertainment, humor, opinion, food, travel, women, LGBT, animals, sex, relationships, culture, sports, tech and men. So they have Scoop Whoop Hindi also, unscripted, Vegabomb, OK Tested, Scoop Whoop Baked, Scoop Whoop Talkies, and they have fact checking. So they raised around 60 lakh rupees in maybe angel funding, and after 6 months the organization, they raised around 1.5 million from Bharti Soft Bank. In 15-16 they raised another 4 million from Kalari Capital, and this was again followed by another internal round in 2018. So they raised around US dollars 8 million in total by angel funding, VC investors across 4 rounds of financing. So right now the company's main streams of revenue, they include native advertising, display ads, licensing, subscription, but they rely on subscription model. They are testing, which may roll out maybe this year or early next year. So for the last year, the turnover was maybe around 25 crores or something. So around 40% of the company is owned by the founding team, and the rest of it by their investors. When I was talking to Satvik, he was revealing information as I was interviewing him for my book. But I just wanted to give you this example because I really liked IIMC students to go ahead and open a company which becomes a big one. So you don't know who you are going to meet at any given time. Most people are not ready when the opportunity strikes. So condition yourself to think like a CEO. You have to overcome your fears, overcome your myths. Don't think people, want only what you are selling, right? People don't work for free, right? So it is not necessary that you will make money through advertising only. Now we have subscription models also. There are other models also. Do you think that no one has ever done this before? Then you are wrong, because in the market you might think that I'm doing it for first time, so it is new. But there are people who have already tried it. So there's a lot of competition. So you have to take it head on. But as they say, if you do something of your choice, something that you love to do, it will be fun. So it is time taking. Any business venture, any entrepreneurial venture, it is time taking. You have to give a lot of time, a lot of effort. The newspaper or the print industry is also going to thrive along with its digital siblings in India for a few years, because that is where the revenue is coming from. But the digital is slowly taking over. I don't know in how many years, maybe in a decade or so. COVID has already hit the print industry, maybe a 4,500 crores loss. But the dynamic shift by the new players would rebuild the structure of journalism which is served in the country. And I have always encouraged my students to be entrepreneurs, media entrepreneurs. Take journalistic endeavors in life. You can, also be one of the entrepreneurs in India. So put your hard work and try your luck. All the best. I'll see you next time with a new topic in my next video. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel Surbhi Dahiya 77, the Media Mentor. Thank you.